This is Romo Dunze, and you're listening to the Ballsville Podcast.
Thank you so much, man. Appreciate it.
Hello, Ballsvillers.
Your temporary host for tonight's Ballsville podcast is Sean.
Taylor Swift. You give me Taylor Swift. Oh, Sarah, we love you. So you guys know that was our wonderful producer, Sarah, who just knows my music style wonderfully. Gives me nice, good Taylor Swift intro like that. Thank you so much, Sarah. She's our producer behind the board, everybody. Welcome into the Ballsville Pod. My name is Sean, a.k.a. Sklem on Sleeper. I am joined today by my good friend Alex, a.k.a. Westlegs, our main man involved, our El Commissioner, and our best friend, the world's greatest appliance, Ken Moore. The dealer is back. How you doing, buddy? It's great to see you guys. How are you gentlemen today?
Doing great, man.
So you guys know we will be joined shortly by our wonderful host, Ludes for Sale, Scott. He is on his way in. He's running a few minutes behind today, but he will be here. And our other guests today will be joined by JoJo coming in. We're going to talk a little bit with him, and Alex is going to go over a few things in the meantime, and we're going to kind of catch up with you guys until they decide to get here from their little trips. So how's everything going with you guys? Ken, I know you got a big trip coming up, man. Tell us what's going on here, bro.
So, unfortunately, Scott and I'm heading up to see Scott in Michigan, and we were trying to potentially plan it where we would both do the pod together up in Michigan, but that won't happen. However, we are going to be at the preseason game this upcoming weekend with the Lions in the Steelers, which will be a good time, and then after that, we will be heading down to Canton, Ohio to go to the Football Hall of Fame.
Nice.
That's cool.
Is this going to be your first time going to the Football Hall of Fame?
Yes, it is crossing off the bucket list kind of thing.
Nice. What's the number one thing you're looking for? There's got to be
I
one.
don't even know. That's the thing. I'm just kind of excited to just take it all in.
Come on. There's not a specific bus that you want to get a picture with or anything, man.
It'll be Tom Brady's when he gets in there.
Palomalu.
Yeah, right, Palomalu.
He's one of my favorites, man.
Oh, that's great, man. What's up with you, Alex? Anything new in the world of Alex?
Oh man, I'm taking a breather now that all the Ballsville drafting is done. Everything's hemmed up on that front. League safes are closed, and you know, if you don't know, I work 2 jobs, and today was my day off, and I ended up working 7 hours, and you know, between that and trying to develop our website and learn WordPress, it's pretty exhausting all the time. So just trying to relax when I can.
Everything you do and still have the time to keep your head freshly shaved. I don't understand, man.
Oh, that's mandatory, dude.
Man,
I need a little like Roomba, you know.
What a day for you, my friend.
Laser treatment.
It's awesome. You guys got any more drafts coming up before the season?
No, I just finished my last one.
I think Ken's still stuck right now. We gotta give Ken a minute here to catch his breath.
Oh my goodness.
The only drafts I'll be doing are going to be online. You know, I'm probably just going to be doing my prop bets for the season and week 1 wagering and stuff like that. I'm done, dude. We did. I think our total count was 176 Ballsville drafts through all of our games. So we've been drafting since Super Bowl. It's nice to take a breath.
Yeah, no, I understand what you mean, man. C-Bomb's up something good for me too. We just had a nice friend draft, me and Tortoise, who we all know from a few episodes ago. We had a nice group of friends come over to his place, and I drove out to California, and we went and had a nice couple drafts. They actually had 2 drafts going on. I attended a party, after party, basically, for the first one when I got into town, and then spent the whole next day at this draft with us. And we had 2 drafts going on that day. We had a first draft that was a standard redraft, and then followed up by an auction draft. So you can imagine the auction draft was pretty entertaining by that point in the night. So it was a great time. I feel like I've landed up some pretty good squads. I feel like I'm up there in the top. But if you don't feel that way after a draft, then you're doing something wrong, right?
Absolutely. So auction drafts are tricky because if I'm going to do an auction draft, I would rather have everybody be sharks, because if there's like 2 or 3 people that don't know what they're doing, then, say you make the mistake of investing in the players early, and then you start seeing like, a Ken Walker go for like, 5% of the fab, and you're like, whoa, what? And it's because other people are burning themselves out, or they're not bidding, and you have no money to compete. So it can get lopsided pretty quick. But if you know what you're doing, you can totally take advantage of that.
Yeah. And it was a 14 team too. That's right. I forgot to mention that. It's a 14 team auction draft, right? So it was it definitely changed things. Yeah, it was different, man. Like, we're not used to doing that in this league either. So none of us it was all new, basically. There was a few of us that have auctioned before, but none of us have 14-man auction. So it was definitely different, dude. Guys were no, it's one quarterback.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah. So, I ended up like the quarterbacks were going cheaper than I anticipated they would. Obviously the good guys went for a decent chunk of change, but there's a lot of guys who spent money early that you could tell were new, and they really got kind of stuck. And then you ended up with probably about 6 to 8 teams that I think were really kind of solid drafters throughout the process. So everybody else, they did well, but they kind of got a little top heavy, as Sarah would like to say.
Yo.
So yeah, man, it's great though.
Studs and scrubs strategy, right? Studs and scrubs.
What's that?
That's what Sarah calls the studs and scrubs, right?
Yep.
Get your studs and end up with scrubs.
Yeah. We had one guy who he was pretty sauced by the time he left the first draft party, and he went home in between drafts. So by the time he got home and got online, I'm not sure what happened, but he basically got his like 6 guys early, and I think maybe fell asleep. he got
Nice.
much auto drafted the rest of his bench. So he's gonna end up having to make some moves in order to survive in the season, I think. Great guy. I love you, John, but definitely was a little too sauced for that draft by that point. But who hasn't been sauced for a fantasy draft in their lifetime? Raise your hand.
Yeah, if you're going to do it in person, then that's the best way to go. Pour other people's drinks and get them juiced up.
Yeah, there was a really entertaining moment in our draft, too. Our good friend Tortoise got basically left hanging high and dry because he tried to push the quarterback position just one step too far pretty much every time it came around to him for the first 3 turns. And he was on the 12th spot, so he had 2 shots and taking a quarterback, and he just kept waiting. And he ended up with Daniel Jones. So,
Yikes!
I feel like he kind of backed himself into a corner with that one.
I don't get it with Tortoise. Anytime a quarterback is involved in trades or drafting, they turn out injured or just bad at football.
I'm looking at our draft board. So the last draft that I did was our manager's draft that just, finished up 2 days ago. I'm looking at his draft board right now, and he's got Hurts, Burrow, and Daniels, and then that's it. So hopefully Jaden Daniels stays healthy for the year, because I know a lot of people are relying on him.
Yeah, I think he made the same mistake that I made, because that draft happened so much later in the timeline that I spent about half the draft. I think he did through the entire draft thinking it was a redraft league. So at a certain point in time, I tried to cover my tail, and I don't think he realized it until after it ended.
Yeah, well, at least everybody ended up with 3, so that's pretty. I can actually share the board here.
Oh, there you go.
You guys want to see the board?
Yes.
Why wouldn't we want to see the board? Come on now, man. This is our manager. So everybody knows this is our manager league that we did. And this is a league with all the guys that help manage the leagues throughout the Ballsville community. So thank you to everybody who's in this league for all your assistance. We wouldn't be able to do this without all you guys.
And so we get the question a lot, like what's the rake and this and that. So the rake isn't really what we like to recall a rake. It's a balance that gets put up. And as long as everything goes smoothly, the Ballsville money that's left over doesn't have to cover somebody's entry, or it doesn't have to cover like a mistake in math and stuff like that. So what we do is we give the managers like a set base amount for managing certain leagues, and then we all come and we play this game, and there's an outcome where any one of these guys makes more money than I make this year because they won this league. So we put the money up, more than half of it goes up into this league, and we play for it because it's not about the money, it's about the fun and the organization and the community and stuff like that. So a common misconception is that we all just get like a lump sum and stuff like that, but we're just gamers, dude. We're trying to play a game. So, this is the best way to facilitate that.
Absolutely.
And have bragging rights against Sean.
Yes. Yes.
I mean, come on now, guys. Like when the season ends and I'm the champion in a lot of these leagues, I hope you guys are going to have some crow to eat and ready to make.
When you say champion, that doesn't mean being champion at last place.
Hey, man, if you're not first, you're last.
Well, everybody gets a prize, so you're going to win something.
Well, whatever I win in that league, I'm going to donate back into the Ballsville community for the 2025 season.
Wait, what's the pub sub between you and C-Bomb?
Ooh.
Which pub sub is he discussing? We have multiple pub subs, C-Bomb. You're going to have to be more specific.
In this league that we're in?
Oh, he's talking about the league that we were just screen sharing. We did have a pub sub in that league, and now you're going to have to remind me again there, C-Bomb, because it's totally not at the top of my mindset right now.
We need to dock these pub sub bets. They're kind of I like the way they sound, and we need to dock them. I know there's one.
The best one, and it's the number one pub sub that was bet. It is the Hawkinson one between Scott and I.
How many games? 8 games?
What?
Was it the 8-game bet?
Yes. So when I win that bet, everyone, I just want everyone to know that pub sub will be live on the air with us.
Should we add to that bet and make him dress up in the Skull Viking outfit while he's eating that pub sub?
We have to make him wear an Amari Cooper jersey because that is the most hated player that he dislikes in the NFL.
Nice.
I don't know, man. I like the idea of putting him in a Hawk jersey and a Viking skull uniform.
Oh, I cannot wait.
And sending him to a Lions-Vikings game.
Bet.
With a pub sub. He needs to have some TV verification. We need receipts.
I like Pacheco in the top 10, and that I'll pub sub anyone on that one.
Oh no, there's no way you're winning that one.
And keep in mind, all right, so like certain players, dude, like it's funny because I listen to podcasts and stuff, and I keep hearing the same names. I keep hearing Kincaid, McLaurin, and Pacheco, and these are all guys that, as soon as the NFL draft ended, you look at these rosters and you go, hey, that guy's got a shot at something. So it's cool to get some validation there.
Was it that you said that Pacheco would finish top 5?
10. 5 is bold.
I thought that's what it was. I thought you said he would finish top 5.
You haven't really
get a pub sub off me.
Time out.
Pacheco over Cook?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, you should too, Sean. You're a fan of Ray Davis. You think he's going to take any of that short yardage?
I like Ray Davis a lot, actually. It's kind of scary a little bit when it comes to Cook. Honestly, it is. So, but I also do think that Andy Reid is going to have a guy that he likes as much as the Bills are going to like Ray Davis. So
yeah, but who is it? Is it CEH and he's going to fail and they're just going to go back to
they got to
Zubikis who said it was top 5 for Pacheco.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, the same one.
That's where my next pub sub is.
Puka and Pacheco are like his 2 guys, man, this season.
It's okay. I'll appreciate that pub sub from you, and I'll make sure you're on the air when I eat it.
Oh man, I'm in with Pacheco. I think.
Yes.
Don't hate me.
But I think, go ahead. I'm sorry, Alex.
No, I just think Puka's got bust written all over him.
Yeah, and I definitely agree with you on that. Dude, the pub sub that we have me and him. So that's going to be based on that Brass Balls League. So keep an eye on that one for you guys there. It's on the record too. So Everybody knows
Yeah,
that pub sub is
Sean, I got to tell you something. I don't know what happened in that draft, but the fact that you ended up with JJ and Chase on that turn just blows my mind.
I mean, honestly, nobody thought I was going to do it. I think they all left him thinking that it would come back around. I'd take at least one running back, if not two, and then they could get one of the two on their team.
I mean, you will be the first team ever to have Chase and JJ on their team and still finish last, but it's still impressive to get both.
I don't know about that, man. My team in that league, I think, is pretty solid, bro. I really do, man. Especially because I was able to get Goff and Purdy on the way back around and still cover my quarterback role. Again, that's another league where I think Trevor faded the quarterback too much, if I remember correctly. It ended up getting like no secondary quarterbacks.
Yeah, the quarterback has been his thorn.
Yeah. He keeps waiting too long and then like goes on a power pride trip and is like, I'm not drafting one now. I'm just gonna stream it and beat everybody with my depth.
He did that in our dynasty league.
Yeah, he definitely. I mean, he's got good depth in these leagues. I always argue with him, but I don't tell him that part of it, that he does actually have good depth. But I don't think that it's strong enough to cover the loss he's going to have at the quarterback position on a weekly basis, especially not in the 10-man league.
So I did a little ADP sheet, just because I had a little extra time and I was like falling asleep. But we have ADP here from our first league when we started, which was April 27th is when Division I, League One kicked off for our 10-team big best ball game. And Pacheco was going at the 601 back then. In our latest draft, I think Zubikis took him at 305, which is a 44 spot difference. And then we look at Puka, dropped from the 207 in the first draft. I mean, he's been all over the place. And this isn't ADP. This is just our first draft board versus our last draft board. So we have a 13 spot difference from 207 to 308. And that coincides with the rise of Cooper Kupp, because the buzz is building off of him. So I didn't really get a chance to see what that does to Stafford in his positioning, because he's been all over the place too. Coming back up since he's back at practice.
That's an interesting exercise. I like that exercise, though. I wonder where like a guy like Rashid White started versus where he's at now, because I feel like he's been dropping finally down to where I basically had him from the gate.
That's a good question, and I can go and look at that and have that tablets right there. I can check that out. But we had like Will Levis entered the top 10 rounds, and we had Hollywood and DeAndre Hopkins, obviously injury. They dropped out of the top 10 rounds and stuff. But just little things that I look for on a yearly basis. I like to I'm like an audible. I don't really look at statistics, but I like to go and look at last year's draft board and see how the champion drafted his team last year. Things like that, just to kind of take notes.
That's an awesome exercise, man. We'll definitely, those are the types of things, guys, that we're going to have available on our website here in the near future. So stay tuned. It's going to be a pretty awesome launch when the time comes.
Well, we have a sneak preview. You guys want to see that?
Ooh, you want to give a little sneak preview right now? I'm okay with a little sneak preview right now.
Okay, while we're waiting for Scott, let's go ahead and take a little peek behind the curtain here, guys, because this thing is I'm telling you, WordPress, if anybody knows it, please help out.
If you guys have any insight in WordPress, we are more than happy to have you guys come on in and give us some pointers.
This is our view mode. We're going to have our little icons here. This is going to take you to to various sites: Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, our email, and X. Yeah, we have all of those. They've been around for a while. I'm usually the one managing them. So, it's not too developed or anything like that, but you'll be able to search the site for keywords. So if you're in a league, you could just enter your league name here, and it's going to tell you, it's going to take you directly to your league. And then there's going to be windows for you to, for championship week, what we plan on doing is we'll have a little, like a chart down below. And if the winner from Shenron, if the two finalists are going to wager, then their league's going to be opened up. And if you're part of the Dynasty League, you'll be able to come in, click on Shenron, and it'll take you to the league so you can see what their scores are. For now, it's going to be something like this throughout the year, where it's going to take you to a Word document and you're going to get to see the players in that league. I don't know if any of you are up here, but it's going to tell you, the paid status. This person is in a rebuild. So for us, what a rebuild is that they paid for the year 2025, but they did not pay for the year 2024. So if they win any money this year, that money will only pay for their next year's dues for 2026 when it's time to pay that, and the rest of that money will be recycled and it will go towards the league for the league's payouts. So they cannot win money to take home. Right now, everybody's in first place, and then relative score will be updated periodically. I'm not going to ask Z-Dub, who, Zachary, he's the one that's running the Dynasty Leagues with me. I don't expect them to keep this up all the time, but periodically we'll cycle through the leagues and we'll update season high scores so that you can see, how teams are doing and stuff like that, maybe even add records. And then down below this is a copy paste from a site called Dynasty Daddy, if any of you guys know it. But you're able to go there, input your league ID number, and then you can print out this huge document that gives you a total breakdown. Your overall rank, how they see it, the team name, the owner name, status, contender, frisky, whatever, how they see your roster ranks, overall value, starter ranks, and then it'll continue on and give you starter value and a bunch of nuances about positional ranking and stuff like that. So for now, you'll be able to see for every corresponding league, we'll take you to a document so you can see how other leagues are doing compared to your team. And we're going to have this all set up so you can navigate between different games. And then, so down here, a little bit about the game, the Dynasty Leagues, the podcast, they'll have like an archive of all of our podcasts. The community is going to be, ideally will be like more of an open chat so that you guys can continue to chat with each other. You guys can post up, your own content. Just kind of a place where you guys can all compile your own information and then play off of each other. Funny little story. Last year, we had a guy named Beckwith, and then we had somebody else named Oren Beck. And he was like, "Hey, dude, how come you have my name as your name?" And he's like, "Nobody has Beckwith." And he goes, "No, dude, I'm Beckwith. My whole family's Beckwith." He's like, "My family's Beckwith. Where are you from?" And they went on to explore whether or not they're relatives because they lived in the same area. So I don't really know the outcome of that definitely, but there's a good chance those two guys were related and they found each other here. So oddball stuff like that is pretty cool. So we'll have redraft rankings, big best ball, the mini leagues, which are way too early before the NFL draft, guillotine leagues, and this page, the Dynasty Leagues. And that's going to be our layout.
That's awesome, man. I love it.
So we're working on it.
Scott.
Oh, he is
What
here.
is happening, gang?
Buddy.
I'm back.
Howdy, sir.
My wife drove about 95 miles an hour on the way home.
Thank you, Ro, for getting them safe.
Yeah, for sure. So, all right, gang. Glad to be back in the saddle. Alex, are you done with your intro?
Yeah, I'm cool. I'm gonna take a back seat until JoJo gets here. You go ahead and proceed as planned.
Okay. Did you guys handle the news and notes and everything good?
Oh, we didn't cover news and notes yet. We went over some of the Ballsville stuff and talked about your upcoming draft and party and everything that you've got going on with Ken here and your trip and everything, and just had a good old time, man. Just waiting for you to get in here and kind of go forward with all the fun stuff.
All right. Sorry, gamers. I was a little late, but daughter's first college soccer game went well. So very proud dad. So I had to rush home to do this. So, okay. Well, it looks like we're going to just get into the reviews from last week's games. Then we'll get into some rankings talk, which everyone should be pretty excited about. And then we do have some big trades that we're going to get into today. We got definitely some doozies for some trades that kind of rolled in yesterday. So I'll start with one of the games last week, and it was a game that was pretty popular. The Bengals and Bears. The Bears won that game 27-3. As far as the Bengals side, not too much there. A lot of the starters didn't play, but Basically looking at who's going to be that third wide receiver in that offense. So you're looking at either Burton or Isavach, I think is how we're pronouncing his name. So you might want to look out for that. They both played pretty much the same preseason, so not too much for there. As far as the Bears, everyone wanted to watch. It's Caleb. He looked great, second time in a row. 6 of 13, 75 yards. Had a Mahomes-like throw to Odunze, which was nice. He had one rush for 7 yards and scored a touchdown. So it looks like Caleb's should be the real deal. We'll see what happens after the first 4 weeks when defenses adjust. But he looks pretty good. This offense might be pretty good to invest in. The law firm of Swift, Herbert, and Johnson, that's probably the direction where that's going to go, with Swift being the lead back with Herbert, and then Roshan getting in there a little bit. And then as far as we all know the receivers, and as far as the tight ends, looks like it's going to be a split between Komet and Gerald Everett. So that breaks down that game. We will move on to Sean, and Sean will review the Bill Steelers.
Absolutely, man. Obviously, you guys know that I was excited to watch this game. Always excited to see my team play. There really wasn't a ton of stuff going. Josh was supposed to play, and then the weather wasn't great enough, or wasn't really bad, but they just didn't want to take the chance. So he ended up not playing, which kind of really killed any opportunity to see what Keon was going to bring to the table, or what you would see from some of the offense with him on the field. So we didn't get a ton of excitement out of that. We did get to see Ray Davis out there for a while, and he made a couple of great runs. He looked really good. I definitely think that he's going to have a role. How big it is, especially early in the season, is probably not going to be much. But as the season goes on, I definitely could see him coming in a lot more towards the goal line side of the world, and things like that, and maybe in the 2-minute drill, stuff like that. So on the other side of the ball, we always wanted to see what was going to happen with these two quarterbacks, right? And I think it was basically exactly what we anticipated. We saw Russell come out there and look like a slow Russell who just can't get out of the way anymore and gets sacked now, and doesn't really have the ability to be the quarterback he used to be. And Justin Fields looked like he has all the ability in the world, but doesn't have the brain to get it all put together right now. He just can't get it caught up. So it's kind of like, if you could just mold them into one, they could be an amazing quarterback. It's crazy. But Justin made some great throws, and the fact that their O-line is horrible, I think Justin just needs to start, and they just need to move forward in that direction. But, that's basically what I got out of that game. There really wasn't much else to take without Josh in the game. So,
gotcha.
Thank you for that analysis, the last place Bills.
Wow. Ouch. Hey, how do you guys feel about Pickens if it's Justin Fields under center for the year? You think he returns on ADP?
I think I like it better with Justin than I do with Russell, to be honest, because that O-line is so bad that at least Justin can get away from the rush half the time and have the time to get the ball deep. I think Russell's just going to be under fire so much that he's not even going to have time to hold the ball long enough to deal with those deep passes to Pickens.
I'd much rather have Fields there, but I also think this is almost going to turn into a situation like what's going to happen with the Giants with Neighbors and Daniel Jones. I think Pickens is just going to get peppered, but I think, the Steelers are going to suck.
Hey, I got a hot take.
Oh, no.
Here's my hot take. Justin Fields wins the job, and by week after the Vikings bye, they find a way to acquire Russell Wilson, the Vikings.
Oh man, I thought you were gonna say Pittsburgh re-signed.
Wait, hold on.
Something.
Do you have Daniel Jones or Russell Wilson?
Oh God, that's gross.
Are we talking football or art or what, math?
God, that's so gross.
Hey, so guys, in our brass balls in our latest draft, George Pickens went right in between DK Metcalf and right before Rashee Rice. So who would you rather have out of those three? Put them in order.
I'd rather have Rice.
Rice first.
Rice, Metcalf, Pickens.
Yeah, I'm with you. That's my order.
I do love George Pickens, but
I just don't know if I have a lot of faith in
I would say Rice, Metcalf, Pickens if nothing happens to Rice.
I doubt it happens this
Nothing's
year.
gonna happen to Rice.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, I mean, barring injury, I don't think he's getting suspended or anything. Like that, I think he's definitely going to be the number one out of those three if he plays the full season. He's on a better offense, and I can't see the other two getting nearly the catchable passes that he's going to get.
So a couple bright spots for the Bills. We had Ray Davis with 8 carries for 58 yards and Frank Gore Jr. with 8 carries and 41 yards. I don't know how that changes your perspective on James Cook, but that's not bad considering the O-line.
What that tells me is our O-line's gotten a lot better at run blocking this year.
Yeah, I like Ray Davis a lot. I like him a lot. All right, let's move on. Let's go to Ken. Ken, an exciting game. The Jets and the Panthers.
This game,
break that.
I like how this is the first game that I had to like give an analysis for, and it was just awful. Just awful. Like the Jets quarterbacks never even heard of before. Then it's like they don't want to play anyone. This game was just bad. So this is going to be very quick. It was nice to see Braylon Allen out there. I like what I saw in the rushing game and in the passing game from him. Of course, Corley's out there, still showed, kind of my hype for him is, separation and able to get the ball. But rather than that, none of the other starters played across the board. So really nothing there. And then on the other side, the Panthers played no one. Scott's favorite person, Mingo, who he thinks very highly of. One catch for 4 yards, so he's just absolutely killing it out there on the in the preseason. But it was actually kind of cool to see Sanders make a couple catches out there, because I was expecting as in rookie drafts as being like an under the radar kind of tight end that might turn into something. He showed some flashes, but other than that, this game was very, very bad to watch, and it was very, very hard to analyze.
Yeah,
Mingo had one
just had like a bunch of
winners.
winners so far this preseason, Ken. Like all your games, man, they've just been great.
I don't know. It's just like it's funny because I'm waiting for JoJo to get on. He's like, "Oh, it's preseason. None of this matters." Oh,
What
just
matters?
wait. Just
Speaking
wait.
of JoJo, dun, 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 dun.
there he is.
I heard my name, man. It was like the bat signal.
Welcome in, JoJo.
What's up, guys?
Hello, welcome in.
What's
All
been
right.
going on? I honestly just logged on, so I did not see any of the stream so far, man. I'm sorry.
Well,
It's all right. It's been nothing but bashing all your teams, man.
We're just
We've
talking about boring preseason that I don't even know why they even do this anymore.
Oh, man.
We've been killing it. Well, everybody in the audience, that's it for me. JoJo's here. We like to keep it at 4 people to avoid all the chatter. Remember to leave a like for the video and tell a friend, man. We have a good time here.
Thank
And
you,
don't
Alex.
forget,
Okay,
we're up to
man.
how many subscribers are we up to now? 139?
143, man, and counting.
143. Awesome.
That's
Yes,
great.
up, guys?
and we've been at it for 4 months, so that's pretty good.
I'd say
All right,
so.
El Presidente.
All right, we'll see you guys. Enjoy your night.
See you later,
Yeah.
brother.
All right.
Always good to see Alex.
Always.
Always good to see Alex. Such a busy guy.
Very. What
Okay.
that guy does, you guys have no idea. I'm talking the listeners, the listeners.
Oh, no, he's just crazy with everything that he does.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I will move on. We will. I'm going to do double duty with these games because Gary was supposed to be on today and he was feeling the weather, so I had to take some of his games. I took this exciting Rams Chargers game, battle of the SoFi Stadium. It was Rams 13, Chargers 9. Some things that stuck out was looks like Stetson Bennett should be the backup. 17 of 31, 213 yards, a touchdown, a pick. But the guy that's really making a ton of noise is Jordan Whittington. 5 catches, 52 yards on 8 targets. This guy looks like he's going to beat out Robinson for that third role. I would expect. You guys agree? Do you think?
Yeah.
He's pushing him. I mean he's going to make a case.
So I think the guy that you should be definitely on your radars towards the end of the draft in your redrafts. Not saying he's going to be the next Puka Nacua or anything, but a guy that's definitely can push in that offense for the wide receiver 3. As far as the Chargers, we're looking at that running back position. We got Vidal, who was 11 for 49, 2 for 8 on 3 targets, 4.5 average. And it looks like he's going to be the clear number 3, pushing possibly for the number 2 or number 1 down the road. Patterson, I think, is going to be a distant 4. I think Vidal is definitely ahead of him. And then, you know what? Even though he's off to a really bad career, but I still take a flyer on Quentin Johnson. Just even though his hands are horrible. I mean, he was a high draft pick. He's got the physical traits. I think I'd give this guy like one more shot. And if he just can't do it in this offense, then it's just time to move away from him.
Well, we all know he's one of my least targeted players. So
Sean owns the most of them.
Hey, Scott, actually, I think it was Popper, the beat writer for the Chargers. I think when he did his projected 53, I mean, granted, this is a beat writer, right?
Right.
But I think he actually had Kamani on the bubble. I think Jarrett Patterson was ahead of him. And he's around the Chargers all day. So I'm just want to throw it out there. I thought I saw something there.
Wow. Well, that'd be interesting because, like I said, Vidal's been getting a lot of run. He's actually done pretty good. So, we'll see how that goes. Yeah. But that whole running back situation is going to be just a revolving door of crap. So,
hey, Quentin Johnson's your new Jonathan Mingo.
What?
J.K. Dobbins, baby.
Quentin Johnson is your new Jonathan Mingo.
He's already got a new Jonathan Mingo. He still has Jonathan Mingo as Jonathan Mingo.
Hey, someday when we go back and we look at all of our videos and we look at that time when I made a trade, when I traded Hawkinson away, and he's like, oh, man, Jonathan Mingo made all the difference in the world on this trade. And we're going to look back at this, and this is going to be one of the highlights, just so I can tell Scott that, yep, Jonathan Mingo turned out to be a great football player in the NFL.
Hey, you got to give these guys at least till they hit their third year breakout. If they don't break out with year 3, then I'm finished with them.
Scott,
gotta love it.
All right. Like I said, I'm doing double duty. So.
Wait, hold on. Wait, does that mean I have to hear about Quentin Johnson next year too?
Yeah, as long as he makes the team. As long as he makes the team. He's got to make the team first.
Where's the flag? Throw the flag, Sarah.
Got to make the team. All right, we will move on. Like I said, I'm doing double duty. We will go to this Lions-Chiefs game. The Lions with a roaring comeback, 24-23 in this preseason game. And everyone's talking about the Mahomes behind the back pass, and I don't think it's really nothing to talk about, really. So we'll start with the Lions. We'll start with the Lions. Hendon Hooker looks like he's definitely going to be the backup to Goff. Another great game, 12-15, 150 yards, 5 rushes for 11 yards, and he scored. And then Isaiah Williams, this guy's definitely pushing for the WR3 role. He had another 6 for 71 on 8 targets, and he had 1 rush for 11 yards. This guy looks pretty good. He was undrafted out of Illinois. Really hope I'm pulling for this guy. I hope he makes the team. As far as KC goes, you definitely have Prince, out there, 7 carries for 47 yards, 6.7 average, 1 catch out of 1 reception for 7 yards on 2 targets. And then everyone saw what the receiving core is going to look like with Rice and Worthy. Both had really strong games. Rice 435 on 5 targets, and Worthy 3 of 62 and a touch on 6 targets. So I think the receiving core is in good hands, and I think we can send Sky Moore on the Viking boat, out into the water on fire, and just let it go off into the distance, because the Sky Moore is officially over.
I agree.
Right. It really made a trade to move up 1 spot because I was so in on the Patrick Mahomes pass catcher a couple years ago. I gave up quite a bit for Sky Moore, but the guy who I ended up moving right in my spot just picked up Christian Watson, so I guess it really didn't really matter on the trade, but still,
it matters.
I made a bad move, but got rid of him
this year for sure.
I still won the league that year. That during time. So.
Yes, Connor, I'm still holding out hope for Josh Gordon.
Flash.
I love Josh Gordon. Took it 1 year. So we will move on, and we will get this going, and we will move to Sean, and Sean has the Seahawks and Titans.
Oh yeah, another one of these Ken type games right here. This. We didn't get to see any of the starters in these games, so we don't know what's going on with the starting quarterbacks in these offenses yet. One thing that we do know for sure is that Mason Rudolph still sucks at football. So if anything happens with Will Levis, then pretty much anybody on Tennessee's team, I think, is no longer startable. That offense just looked horrible under him. So, I don't think there's going to be a lot going for them. I think Will Levis has a lot to bring to the table. So as long as he stays healthy, they'll be solid. But otherwise, I'd be scared. So on the other side of the ball, I definitely wanted to see what was going to happen with Sam Howell. And I honestly think he came out and played well. And I'm not a Geno guy. So if it happens, I think that Geno loses that job to Sam at some point this year. Pub sub. You want to pub sub that? You think that's pub sub?
Geno's got that job, man. He's fit for that offense.
Yeah, I don't see that happening.
I don't think Geno's as good as everybody says he is. I think Geno's more flash in the pan. I don't think he's going to be able to maintain without Pete Carroll's offense there. I don't know what he's going to look like in this new one. So to me, I don't think Geno's as solidified as everybody says he is. He's not that kind of a quarterback to me that can for sure hang on. He's like Baker, basically, kind of that level. So all it takes is a couple false steps in a row, and Sam's right behind him.
I'm in on the Seahawks offense. That's all I'm saying. So we can do a quick pub sub on that one.
I mean, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that Geno loses that job at some point this year.
All right. Mark it down, Sarah. Put it on the board. So I don't know if I'm allowed to say that. That's like an ESPN.
I'm going to have so many Connor pub subs, I can just pass one right over to you,
Yeah, there you go. Sam Howell is horrible. That's funny.
Sam Howell's horrible. Oh, that's hilarious. No, I don't think he's horrible. Did you watch that game? Or does it have something to do with that Sun Devil screen name of yours?
Sun Devil just really wants to bring up our trade that we made because we've been going back and forth I think he's been asking for A-Chain in a league real quick for about a month and a half, and we finally made a trade last night.
Well, I'll chime back at Sun Devil because he said, how can you all say that about Sky Moore and not Mingo? Look, Sun Devil, Sky Moore played in the, a lesser conference at Western Michigan, and Mingo played in the SEC. So I will take a guy who played. I'll have a longer leash for a guy that played in the SEC than a guy that played in the MAC.
Sun Devil, I have no leash on Mingo anymore. He's bad at football.
John, are you done with this? Titans and
he sucks
Seahawks,
at football.
The Titans Seahawks. Yeah, I really didn't. There wasn't a lot to follow out of that game, man.
No,
it wasn't great.
That's fine. No, that's good. All right, I'll move on. I will.
It was
move
a Ken game.
Ken, what up? You got Browns and Vikes.
Nothing exciting from this game. It's kind of disappointing because none of the starters were out there for any of them. Huntley for the Browns, I guess even after a 2 interception day, I believe is going to be taking that backup role behind Watson. I heard that the Browns are trying to trade Thompson Robinson, who was there last year. He's just awful too. But just thought that was the most interesting part of the Browns for 3 interceptions that day. The one thing for the Browns that's interesting for me is that it does not appear that Chubb will be starting the year at running back, and probably will not come back until, if at all, later in the season. So it's kind of interesting to see how they're going to run their running back. Jerome Ford was not out there, which I was not surprised for. But I wanted to know who was behind Ford, and it looks like it's going to be Foreman. He went 10 for 18, which is not impressive, but JoJo says it's preseason, so don't worry. But he had 1 touchdown. He went 5 for 46 on receptions, which it was actually very nice to see because he was explosive there. So it looks like that he's going to take the RB2 spot on the team, while Ford kind of, will be the lead back. But the one other player will be Thrash, who they drafted in this draft. I've been kind of watching him to see if it turns into something, because really behind Amari Cooper, you have Judy and Elijah Moore, which I don't think Elijah Moore has really ever fit for the Browns in their scheme. So I'm going to be interested to see if Thrash kind of steps up and takes that away from him. But rather than that, there was really nothing on the Vikings side because, of course, Sam Darnold's not playing. They don't want him to get hurt. Nick Mullins, nothing exciting. So that's all I got, guys.
I mean, we did have some exciting news on the Vikings side. Scott, while you were gone, we went ahead and made an adjustment.
That's right.
So we've added a little caveat to the pub sub. If you end up losing the Hawkinson pub sub to Ken, then you're gonna have to eat that pub sub dressed as the Viking skull outfit. Lions game.
Stupid chant. God, that's so stupid.
What's funny is
something that Ken has to do if you want.
Wait, so what? I forget. What's the over under that? How many games?
He's got to stay healthy for 8 consecutive games.
I don't even think he's going to be back by week 10.
I think he's only missing the first month of the season.
Get out of here, dude.
I agree. I think he'll be back after 4.
I'll put a pub sub on that.
At the latest, it'll be after their bye because they have that early bye.
I trust Stefania Bell. I trust her. She's awesome. She knows her stuff.
All right, we will move on. I'm gonna take like I said, I'm gonna take this Saints Niners game. We're gonna try to roll through these a little quicker. I know we want to get to some rankings and trades. I'm not gonna even go over to the Niners. No one really played that much. I mean, a little bit of Jacob Cowing, 451 on 5 targets, the rookie receiver. But I really want to talk about the Saints because I think there's some guys here that are somewhat relevant. We're not really going to talk about the backup because I think the backup's going to be Taysom Hill if anything ever happens to Carr. I don't think they'll go right to Rattler. Hill's going to be very interesting because you can grab him at the tight end designation, and he had 5 carries for 21 yards and a touchdown. So, I mean, they're probably going to use him all over the place again. And if you punt on tight end, I mean, he's going to be a guy he might get you like 2 points one week, or it might blow up for 25 points one week. So that could be very interesting. Kendry Miller being hurt. He's just hurt all the time. Jamal Williams has oatmeal pants. So I'm really looking at James Robinson. I love James Robinson when he was healthy, and he's actually showing some pretty good run here for the Saints. He had 5 carries for 27 yards, 5.4 average. He had 2 receptions for 12 yards on 3 targets. So I would look for if James Robinson can make this team, maybe pushing for that backup role behind Kamara. And then one guy I really, really like a lot, and I think he could definitely push for the WR2 role is A.T. Perry.
I agree with A.T. Perry.
He had 2 receptions for 24 yards on 6 targets, but he's a huge target in the red zone, and he's definitely have some pretty good speed. So he's a guy I'm grabbing at the end of drafts. I'm definitely taking some A.T. Perry shares.
Me too. I've got him in a few leagues, and he's a guy that I have an eye on for sure, especially if Rashid Shaheed has any issues with staying healthy.
Right. So, okay, we will move on. I guess it's right back to me. God, I hate doing
those are like the 3 worst words in golf too. You
want to go with one of? You want me to go over a game in between, Scott? I can.
Yeah, you do a game in between, so I can bring up my stuff.
Yeah, I can talk Miami, Arizona.
Go. You got Redskins, Dolphins.
Oh, Redskins. Yeah, I'm sorry. I said you keep doing that to me. Commanders, Dolphins. That's so terrible, bro. It's mean. So the Commanders Dolphins. So in this game, there was obviously some target players I want to see. Jaden did play, which I was really excited to see how he did. Excuse me. And I thought he looked pretty good. There was one play specifically that they blitzed him on a third down and he got skittish, threw it off his back foot, threw it out of bounds when Terry was wide open. So, those are the types of plays that I think he needs to clean up, and those are rookie plays. So I'm got confidence that he will eventually get past those types of plays. But, you definitely want to see a little more poise out of him in the face of a blitz than that. So, that's something that I think he'll work on as time goes on and he'll get better at. Otherwise, Terry definitely looks scary. I mean, that guy, I think, is going to be a solid player this year. I would target him in draft, especially at his ADP. I think he's a steal. So, Terry McLaurin is a guy that I liked a lot, and he showed me why in this game, made a couple of great plays. Another guy that really kind of is intriguing, and not enough for me to pick him up quite yet, but enough for me to see where things go early in the season, and he might be one of those early season waiver wire targets that you're going to want to get, is De'Ami Brown. He seems like he's had a role in this offense on a regular basis, and he wasn't in the game quite as much as Dotson and McLaurin were, but when he was on the outside a lot with the two of them. So I'm thinking he might be that guy who's in a rotation with them and getting a good amount of snaps where he could be a target to get in some leagues, and especially deeper leagues. So on the other side of the ball, we didn't get to see, a lot of the Jalen Wright wasn't in the game. So, it was basically a lot of Achane in the early parts of the game. And then they got actually their third stringer. I cannot remember the kid's name for the life of me right now, got hurt. And they ended up putting in like their fourth string guy who's like a roster bubble guy. So we didn't get a whole lot to glean from the running back position on the Dolphins side. Malik Washington flashed a little bit. So he's a guy, especially if there's any injuries to smaller, you could say Waddle would be considered maybe a frailer receiver. I think Washington kind of has that type of skill set to step into that role if need be as time goes on. So, that's a guy that I like to keep an eye on the Dolphins side of the ball. And I think they're going to be a high-powered offense, and I don't think their defense looked great. So I would not be surprised if you're going to get a lot of points out of the Dolphins players and a lot of points out of people playing against the Dolphins, because they're going to be in a lot of shootouts this year. So, that's pretty much all I gleaned out of those games at this point. There really wasn't much else that stood out to me.
All right. Good job. All right. I'm up. Another big game, Cowboys-Raiders. 27-12 Cowboys. We'll start with the Cowboys. I want to ask you guys a question. I know you guys are going to probably laugh at me, but if you're a dynasty owner and you want to acquire Trey Lance, what's it going to cost me?
If I have Trey Lance and you want him,
like what can I get Trey Lance for? A fourth rounder?
What?
Fifth rounder?
probably.
I'll tell you what, I'll give you Trey Lance and a third rounder, and you send me a fourth rounder. And we're good to go.
I just think he did. I think he did.
Honestly, though, I'm still keeping him. Though I don't really gain much from a third or fourth. I mean, maybe a third, maybe but fourth. I don't really gain much, so I probably would just sit on and keep him. And if Dak gets hurt, then
my whole point is I think this guy's going to get another chance in the NFL. I mean, he played. He was 15 for 23, 151 yards and a touch. And what I like is he used his legs for 7 carries for 34. So, I mean,
he still can't anticipate throws, and the guy has to be 10 yards wide open, waving his arms before.
This guy.
Dude, no way.
NFL.
Yeah.
These teams are quarterback hungry.
Scott, hold on, Scott, real quick. This is going to be the ultimate bet. If Trey Lance is ever a starter for more than 3 games in a season, you have to wear a Hawkinson jersey for the whole next season.
A pink one, too.
If not, I will wear any jersey you want on the pod.
Oh God, you guys are so bad. What if he doesn't get a chance for 2 more years?
What? And
that's a loss, Scott. That's what we call a loss. You lose.
I still like Trey Lance. I'll pick him up for cheap in Dynasty. Like I said,
we need to
that's
make
I'm a quarterback hoarder. I'll take those quarterbacks.
We need to make a Scott's All-Star Sleeper Squad. It'll have like Jonathan Mingo, Trey Lance,
Josh Gordon.
Josh
up.
Gordon.
Keep it up.
Instead of a taxi squad, it's like the RIP squad.
Hey, now he's probably gonna have Damian Pierce there too.
You guys are just talking up. You guys are just talking up Sam Howell. He may never get another chance in the NFL.
How do you think Trey Lance is gonna get another chance?
He's definitely ahead of Trey Lance in getting another chance, Sam Howell. That's for dang sure.
I don't know.
You know
Them Cowboy fans, if they don't pay Dak, I don't know if Dak will be.
God, you didn't say anything to the bet.
He's not taking that bet. You know
I'm
that.
not taking that bet.
You know that. Well, but you know what all this just like made me think of is like find someone that loves you and is loyal to you as Scott is to Jonathan Mingo.
Right. All right. Moving on.
And his wife.
And his wife. Of course, his wife. Yeah, got to, definitely. She's number one for sure.
She is number one. She
Number one.
do all this talk with you fools once or twice a week. So, the WR3 roll, we're looking at either Tolbert or Flournoy. So Tolbert was 1 or 6 for a touch, and Flournoy was 4 of 23 for a touch on 6 targets. So we're still looking for the WR3 roll in that offense. They definitely need receiver help. Moving on to the Raiders, we all know that Minshew has the job. To me and JoJo's despair, I think we both agree AOC deserved that job.
So bad.
I'm not sure why
I
they
think
gave
he had it until he threw a pick six.
Yeah,
it literally looked like that was like coach was like, "Well, I guess you're starting, buddy."
Mingo.
I really thought it would be AOC. I was banking on it.
You know what? I watched the press conference, you know, as he made the announcement, and he specifically said to start the season, right? So he's not the starter like the whole way. Obviously, if he plays well, you know, he keeps starting. But I also didn't see RPO. I was like the one on the comments of all the other all the pods and everything, and even in our threads saying like I expect a different type of offense from Minshew. But I didn't see a lot of RPO zone read. They were still putting him under shotgun. That's not Minshew's game. So I just think this is the veteran experience stuff to give AOC a little bit more time and getting reps and things like that. I still think he starts more games this year.
I just hope that wasn't Devontae Adams' decision.
JoJo, since you're a Raiders fan, how many games do you think they win this season?
The over-under is 6.5, right?
Yeah.
I am going to say – I'm going to say 7.
I think they win 7.
I'm going to say 7.
I don't think so, man. I think
That's
it's 6.
I think their defense is really
Their
good. That's why I
defense
think
is
like
good.
it's
the
close.
division, though, man. It's that
Yeah.
division.
Hey, they went into KC with AOC and won.
Yeah, they're yeah, for
Last
sure.
season.
Their
I don't think
defense
they can't
is
do
good.
it. It's got to keep the game close.
And
Hey,
they
I
are not-
love your optimism, man. I love your optimism, brother.
so-
Well, look, I was Raiders Twitter beat writers. I was on there and I actually made 2 wagers with them on Twitter. We split it because it was 8 games. I said we weren't even win 8 games. That was with Josh McDaniels as the head coach. They obviously turned it on. I don't think they would have even gotten close to 8. I thought it was a free bet, but we ended up splitting. No one had to shell out anything. But Mo Moton, it's my guy. Shout out to him. Raiders Twitter does a good job.
Good. Another guy I like is Trey Tucker, 366,
Yes.
6 targets. I love
He
that
looks so
guy.
good.
He's a nice kid, too.
Definitely a good guy in the slot. Maybe a guy they'll put on the kickoff. Definitely a guy to watch out for. Bowers definitely looks like the number 1 tight end in that offense. They'll move him around. Myers will be the inline with Bryant, probably going in and out. So that's what I got out of that. So we will move on. Next, we will go to Sean. Sean's got Cards Colts.
Cards and Colts. Yeah, that was actually another game that, we didn't get any starters in as far as the quarterback play. Marvin didn't play. At least I didn't see him out there, so I don't think he was out there at all. And it just didn't really give us a whole lot to work on, with the exception of one really, really awesome thing coming out of that game was Trey Benson. That guy looked amazing in this game. There was some cuts that he made on a few runs that were just lights out, man. I couldn't believe it. So, I really think that at some point in time, especially if there's an injury to Connor, he's going to take over. But even if not, man, I think he's going to eat into those carries at some point this year. And I'd be shocked if he's not ahead of that ahead of Connor by the end of the season as far as the shares, because he just looks amazing, man. Like he had three runs specifically that he could have had 3 touchdowns in this game very easily. He got shoestring tackled on one that was a breakout for like over 50 yards. You know, he got barely grabbed by the jersey or something on another one. That was another breakout touchdown. He got stopped right at the 2-yard line on a play that was called back by a penalty. And like but all 3 of those plays, man, he was just inches away from scoring on those plays. And he just has like that kind of it factor to me. So I really liked what I saw out of him on that side of the ball. You know, on the other side of the ball, the backup quarterback position in Indy is something that I've been kind of intrigued about just because of the, you know, volatile factor with Anthony Richardson and how, you know, he was already hurt last year. His style of play is scary style of play for injury. So what are they going to do if something happens again? Because that offense is the type of offense very Shanahan-y, and that they seem like they can just bring out the best in quarterbacks that they have there. You know, I think Minshew played the best that I've ever seen Minshew play in that offense. So what I saw out of, I want to say, is Ellinger, who was their backup with Minshew last year. I think that kid's grown a little bit. I think he's got some moxie to him. If something happens, I would like to see him play over Flacco. I really would. I don't think Flacco has what it takes to be. I think he was a flash in the pan last year, and he's an old man. I just don't know if he's got it again. So, if something happens to Richardson and he's out there on your waiver wire, I would snap him up as quick as you can, because I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't beat him out for that backup job.
All right. Okay. I will move on. I will get to the Giants Texans. Texans 28, Giants 10. Oh my God, Daniel Jones sucks at football. He's so bad. 11 of 18 for 138, 2 picks. Looked terrible. The Giants should just tank this year. It's just awful performance. Singletary definitely looks like the lead back. We got some Malik Neighbors, 454 on 6 targets, and he had a rush for 5 yards. So that's from the Giants side. As far as the Texans, get as many Texans as you can on your team. This team's going to be electric. They're going to score a lot of points. We could see the next team to have 3 receivers with 1,000 yards, with Tank Dell, Nico Collins, and Stephon Diggs. And then you got a 4th guy who's healthy now, and John Mitchie, 6 receptions for 68 yards and a touch on 7 targets, lots of speed. So they're definitely going to have a high-powered throwing offense. So I get as many of those pass catchers on my team as possible. And looking at CJ Shred to go for 5K this year. Book it.
Whoa.
So if you have an opportunity, so I have a scenario in a keeper league that I have CJ Stroud and Anthony Richardson both available for me to keep in the 12th round. Which one of the 2 do you take if you have that opportunity?
Shred.
You guys agree?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the question. I'm sorry.
I have a keeper league coming up that I have both CJ Stroud and Anthony Richardson as the potential of a 12th round keeper, whichever one I decide to take. They're both the same keeper. So
CJ Stroud over A-Rich every single time.
It's now CJ Shred.
CJ Shred. That's who I have right now. I'm just curious what you guys' opinion is.
Come on, Joe.
I have Richardson 3rd in our rankings at QB, so I mean I don't know. I'm going A-Rich. I'm going A-Rich, man. Sorry.
No.
And then does Kyler Murray as a 13th round keeper change your mind at all and put him in there?
No.
Zubikez, come on.
That's what I said. Kyler was already the 3rd, and then it was between the other 2 for me.
Jojo, are you still taking A-Rich over Shred in a dynasty?
It's close because I'm an Ohio State guy, so I do have some exposure in dynasty to CJ.
The fact that he has to think about this.
But Richardson can break the game, guys. We know this. He can break the game.
But these running quarterbacks, though, when they get older, man, they can't run anymore. So once he loses his legs, it's all passing. And
we still don't know what he can do with his arm yet. We haven't seen enough sample to know what he can do with his arm. I already know he's not going to be the most accurate quarterback, but if he can just be between 200 to 250 and maybe getting 1 or 2 touchdowns in the air, and he gets 50 to 70 on the ground with a touchdown, like he's like already above what C.J. Stroud could do with 300 yards passing. It's not close.
That's a fair point. Fair point. Okay, let me bust one more out.
Like real NFL, yeah. Go. In this game, it's tough to make that decision. I'm sorry.
All right, we are going to bypass the Falcons-Ravens because like absolutely nothing went on in that game except I don't know why they didn't play Michael Penix. He should have got some runs. So really nothing much went on in that game. So we just got a few more games left. We'll go back to Ken and go Eagles-Pats.
Oh, finally. Oh, this was a game. I got excited. You know, it was nice to see Drake May out there a little bit more than the first preseason game. As I mentioned on the last pod, I wanted to see him have more series, which he did. And I'll go back for a second. Going into the preseason, I did not expect Drake May to have any way, shape, or form to be the starter for the Patriots week 1. Jacoby Brissett looked absolutely awful last week in preseason. He did not look comfortable in the offense. He made bad decisions and just did not look good. Compared to May, where he looked more comfortable, read the offense, used his feet. Jacoby Brissett was 3 for 7 in an interception for only 17 yards. May was 6 for 11, 47 yards. Not great stats, but I just wanted to make sure that he was starting to look more comfortable than he did week 1 of preseason. But what Drake May did is he went 4 for 15 on the ground with a touchdown. So for me, do I still think May might start? I think it's more of a toss-up now than I did before coming into preseason. If Brissett does not look comfortable in the offense this upcoming week, and May does look good, I think May will start. Even though I think he should sit to learn more behind Brissett because I think he is a good quarterback. But I thought that was a very interesting thing to see out there. The Patriots decided to, get their Stevenson and Gibson more work. Stevenson 6 for 18, Gibson 4 for 8. Nothing that stands out. As JoJo says, it's preseason. Who cares? As we go forward, looking at the wide receivers, really nothing pops out. However, Polk got more action than week 1. So it's just nice to see Polk out there a little bit more because I do think that by the end of the season, he will be the wide receiver 1 on the Patriots. He's more dynamic and explosive compared to anyone else on the team. Demario Douglas is a guy who's a late round pickup last year. He has not been out there at all. So rather than, caught one pass for 1 yard and call it a day. But I just think Polk is dynamic and it's going to be, to see that connection with May throughout the season. But very big fan of Polk. And then looking on the other side for the Eagles, really nothing there. However, one thing coming into preseason is I wanted to see if Shipley was going to be able to take the RB2 role behind Barkley. And he looked really, really good last week. 5 for 15 on the ground, but he also went 4 for 31 in receiving. So that was really good to see. So I'm really hoping that he beats out Gainwell because I think he's a better back than Gainwell and more explosive. So, if Barkley does get hurt because of his injury history, I think Shipley would be, a good guy to trade for if you have Barkley in any league to have a backup.
Good analysis, Con. That was a good analysis. All right, one more game before we get into the redraft cheat sheets. Broncos, Packers, 27-2. We're just going to basically talk Broncos. Packers sat pretty much everybody. It's awesome that we had 3 rookie quarterbacks in the preseason kind of show out. So I think the future of quarterbacks are in good hands. Bo Nix was 8 of 9, 80 yards and a touch, scrambled for 3 for 12, looked very accurate, made very good decisions. I think made Sean Payton very happy to the point where he named him the starting quarterback for Week 1 today. The backfield looks like it's going to shake out with Javonte and McLaughlin. It's a 1-2 punch with Estime and hopefully Blake Watson, who I really like, make this team. Oatmeal Pants P. Ryan's probably going to get cut. I don't think he'll make the team. It's about enough of that. And then one guy that popped back on the radar is Tim Patrick, coming off a devastating knee injury. Again, I think it's his second one, if I'm not mistaken, knee injury. And he's 29 years old, and he was targeted 4 times, caught all 4 passes for 30 yards and a touchdown. So that's definitely pretty exciting if you're looking at somebody that to possibly land that number 2 role in that offense. And then another guy that kind of came back from the dead was Greg Dulcich. Looked pretty strong out there running, got open, and it looked like Knicks targeted him. Looked for him often. So I think it'll be a sneaky offense as long as everyone stays healthy. But like I said before, it's really nice to have 3. It would have been nice to see how McCarthy would have been if he would have stayed healthy, and we could have had literally 4 rookie quarterbacks potentially start Week 1. I mean, that would be pretty cool. But it looks like we're going to get 3. So that wraps up, thank God, our preseason talk. We will never talk about preseason again until next year. So we are done with that. And we brought JoJo in today because he's been working tirelessly on the redraft rankings. And I'm gonna let it over to you, JoJo. What do you got for us? I know everyone's excited to hear what you got to say.
Did you want me to share, or do you want to share the screen?
Pardon me?
You want me to share, or do you want to share the screen as far as the rankings?
No. You go ahead.
Okay. All right. Give me a sec, guys.
Yeah, you roll it.
All righty. All right. So let me know when we're up. It's starting to go, I think. Oh, what happened? There we go.
We go.
All righty. I'm going to go into full screen mode. There we go. So I can see even better.
Let the listeners know what homework you did here.
Exactly. So what we just did was we took about, I see 6 rankers from our Ballsville community here. A couple of them are on this pod, as you see, Ludes for Sale, Scott, myself, and Sean. Ken just, I guess, didn't want to do any homework for whatever reason. I'm kidding. C-Bomb, you'll see him in the threads on the hubs on several leagues as well. D-Payne, he's our
Jojo, can you zoom that in a little bit? Is there a way you can zoom that in?
I don't think there is one to zoom on this. I can probably do this, though. Hold on one sec.
Should be right there where it says 100%, right up at the top there, right.
I'm looking for it. Oh, usually there is like a magnifying glass.
Right up between the name and C-Bomb. Up at the top, it says 100%.
Oh, right here. My bad.
Yeah.
You're right.
There you go.
More?
Yeah, more. I think somebody in the chat said zoom it in a little bit. There you go.
Much better. Sorry about it. And you can also expand also in stream or maybe on if you just go full screen too. Unless you're on YouTube, just the small screen, but going full screen there. So we took about 6 rankers, averaged them out, put a total consensus ranking. We did it by position. Unfortunately, we couldn't do a full consensus, even a mix of positions. But what we wanted to do is at least provide redraft rankings for you guys' draft coming up if you guys already started. I'm sure that there's plenty of people that still haven't done their redrafts. We're going to go little popcorn, different topics here. I want to just throw some things to the panel of some things that I saw there, the discrepancies. Maybe we can have some bold takes here. But the one I'm going to choose first was, and I have it kind of highlighted already, was Caleb Williams. I was the only one to have him ranked as a true QB1. Everyone else was a little lower. These are fringe. We got Scott a little fringe outside of QB1. I just kind of want to say maybe what hasn't convinced you guys to maybe put Caleb in that QB1 tier?
So
go ahead, Ken.
So I got to first off and say there's the reason I did not do this is so that I give an analysis on everyone else, as everyone knows that I'm a big dynasty guy. Now, I'm going to speak on Caleb because it's always tough going into a redraft with a rookie. I always struggle taking any rookie very early, especially as my QB1. I'm not going to say Caleb's not going to be a stud. I think he will be, but I need to see. It's very, very tough for a rookie quarterback to step into this league and absolutely show off. CJ Stroud is on a different level. I'm just using him as the most recent one. But in general, Sean, you're a Josh Allen fan, so help me out here. But didn't he sat for a while, right? Didn't he sit for a little bit? Right.
Yeah, he sat until I think the only reason he got in as early as he did was injury. If I remember correctly, he came in halfway through a game, and then his first start was the next week against Minnesota.
Right. So I use Allen for an example, right? So, high expectations. My point is that we have all these great quarterbacks now: Allen, Mahomes, Hurts, Jackson, C.J. Stroud, Richardson. But if we go back in time, this is kind of normal for where quarterbacks are going for a rookie, just because we don't know what's going to happen with them, going into it as a rookie.
100%.
Stroud's rookie season wasn't statistically amazing. Really didn't put him like in this super top tier of quarterbacks.
Where did he finish? I think it was QB 15 or 12. Where was it? I don't even think it was top 10 either.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it wasn't even QB1 status.
No, definitely fair. I think that the reason why I have him a little on fringe outside near QB1 was because I do think he's actually going to run more than people think. Like Stroud doesn't give you anything with his legs. Obviously, Jane Daniels, I even have Jane Daniels number 12. I think he can give us a lot more than what people are expecting on the ground. That's part of my ranking here. Of course, I can be really too frivolous with this, but I just wanted to call that one out. And one other thing before we move, because I know we got to wrap some things up here. But
I have Jaden above Caleb so you know.
What was that?
I have Jaden above Caleb by one.
Yeah, who above Caleb? I'm sorry.
Jaden Daniels. I have him above.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. 15. Yep. Even Scott had Jane Daniels above Caleb too. So that's the rushing probably was the real factor in that. I'm actually kind of worried about if he can throw the ball consistently enough to really reach the ceiling as far as Jane Daniels is concerned. But speaking of Jane Daniels, Herbert over actually, no, this was actually just I'm sorry, I had this before. Maybe C-Bomb updated his rankings right before the pod because actually Herbert was in front of Jane Daniels. That was actually one thing I put over here. Let's see if I had another one that I thought had another discrepancy. Yeah, Goff over Tua, the guy that got paid. Tua got all the money. Do you guys?
I have Goff over Tua also. Actually, I think Goff has got a better schedule and a better situation to have the opportunity to score better. Tua, even last year, with all those long passes and everything he was doing, he still wasn't scoring great overall in fantasy. So I think Goff is just the better play, in my opinion, based on all those factors. I don't think he's outdoor until November or something like that. I think he's only got like 3 or 4 games outdoor all season or something crazy like that.
Yeah, he's got I think he only plays 2 games outdoors at Chicago and at San Francisco. That's it.
Yeah, it's unbelievable how many domes he's in.
Definitely, the good weather helps, and I mean by like good weather and no weather because you're just in the dome.
The Tua drop off late in the year too is scary.
The quick shout out too was 3 people had the consensus. What people would think is a QB1 is Josh Allen. I know Sean's a resident Buffalo Bills fan, but it wasn't across the board, except that the averages still woke out that him still being the consensus QB1 amongst all rankers. But it wasn't one across the board. Unlike
the 2 that really counted had him ranked at 1. So that's all that matters.
There you go. Well, Christian McCaffrey was a unanimous number 1 in running backs. A couple of things that I saw here. Actually, I should have rambled off the top 10, but obviously if people are viewing, they can read them off. But our top 10 here, I'll do this from 10 to 1. Achane, Henry, Kyron, ETN, Taylor, Gibbs, Saquon, Bijan, Brees, and CMC. I think there was a stat that I heard a little while ago, like earlier this summer, that there is about 30 or 40% of the top 10, which is about 3 or 4 picks, obviously, that are the only ones that finish as the top 10 as far as running backs concerned year to year on average. So I guess the first question would be, can you pick at least 2 running backs that are in our consensus top 10 that may not or will not finish in the top 10?
Let's see here. I would say that the ones with the most opportunity to not finish in the top 10 is probably Achan and I'd say maybe ETN.
Okay. What about you, Scott?
I'm going to say Achan, and then I'm going to say Gibbs because I think he's going to struggle with injury.
Wow. Okay.
So what about you? What do you got?
I'm gonna go with ETN as 1, and I'm actually worried about Taylor. I have him ranked number 9, and I think the reason for that in my book is because when you get in close, I know A-Rich got hurt by running the football near the end zone, but you just don't know how it's going to shake up until we see it for the regular season. Are they going to hand it off, or are they going to let A-Rich do what he does best, right? I think we kind of know what Baltimore's going to do. They invested in this. They've already kind of tiered off Lamar running at the goal line, and he hasn't really done that. In his
I don't think he's ever really done that. A lot of
exactly. So I mean, but they invest in this back right here, whereas he was kind of fighting to stay in Indy. Like he really didn't want to be in Indy. I mean, they signed him early last season. They finally got him in camp last season, but that's my worry with JT.
Well, and that's the same thing I'm worried about with Gibbs too. Is besides a little bit of an injury concern, David Montgomery's not going anywhere. He's going to get most of the goal line carries. So Gibbs is going to have to rely on a lot of receptions and a lot of long runs if he wants to get in the long receptions or long runs to get in the end zone. So this fantasy of thinking that Montgomery's just going to fall off the map, it's not going to happen.
I think Montgomery is the one that has the best chance to come in and have a Raheem Mostert type season, like a 20 touchdown crazy type season like that, because he's just going to be that bulldozer that comes in late in games and just bulldozes people, red zone. Like he's a great runner. He can break out for a 40, 50-yard touchdown at any point in time also. So I'm with you. I don't think Montgomery is going to be, as bad as everybody anticipates.
Now that's a great point.
Did we lose Ken? Oh, there he is.
Yeah, I think maybe his computer died again like last time. Or something.
So we need to get a and a nice little side table.
This tier right here, well, I mean, we didn't break this in tiers, but this particular segment in the rankings catches my eye a little bit. The reason being is these are mostly a lot of QBs, RB2s. And I'm kind of highlighting them. I'll do Tajay Spears, Jalen Warren, Chase Brown, Zach Moss. I mean, we kind of 1A, 1B. I'll even throw in far down is Blake Corum. Which of these kind of like ambiguous backfields offer the most contingent upside for that quote unquote second running back to be a league winner this season for these people that are watching?
But I think Blake Corum is the obvious answer.
I think he's the number one. That's my number one.
He stands out to me like out of.
We all have him so low. But yeah. It's crazy. But yes.
That's because he's in an offense that likes to showcase one back, and he was drafted high, and they really like him. If something happens to Kyrie Williams, he'll easily be, 25 carry a game guy. So that's why I think he's there. I would actually probably put Charbonnet close behind him in that boat too. If something happens with Walker, I think Charbonnet becomes the clear-cut lead back in Seattle also. I'm just not as confident in that offensive play calling as I am in LA. So,
okay.
And then the other guy is right above him, man, Trey Benson. After what we saw from him earlier, man,
second game looked a lot better. The first game was a little shaky.
It's just he has that kind of wow factor about him, man. Like he's got that kind of wiggle that's just like you're either born with it or you're not. And I think he's going to be one of those players that could really show us something.
I think his yards per carry were like over 6 in college, or at least the last year before he got drafted, which I guess was what popped to a lot of people and to scouts. And Ken, anything to add? Scott, anything to add real quick on that one before we move on?
I'm going to I agree with Blake Corum, but I'm really going to go out. I don't think it's going out too much on a limb, but it's a guy coming off a year off of a devastating knee injury. I think he's definitely got the receiving chops.
Talking
he's
about this guy?
definitely a talented back. Is Javonte Williams.
Oh, Javonte. Well, he's the lead guy. He's the lead guy. I was thinking about the one like
I
the backup.
thought you meant like just ambiguous, like backfields that had like committees.
I hear you. No, it's still a good pick though because
he is in a committee. Because he is in a committee. I mean, McLaughlin is the third down guy.
Yeah, I hear you. And I'm actually been I haven't been scooping up enough Javonte, especially in builds where I felt like I can use that kind of assurance because I feel he offers a little bit of floor. And since he's 2 years removed
now.
Since he's 2 years removed from that injury, I mean, history says this is probably going to be the better season that he could be coming into. So that's a good point.
And he's only 24 years old. He's not like he's 26, 27. He's still young.
For sure.
So I'm surprised, I think it kind of is it like different tiers? I know you guys said Benson and Corum, but I got to be honest, I'm surprised, Spears and Brown are two players this year that I think have very, very high upside.
I agree with you on the Brown side for sure.
I like Brown.
I think, Chase Brown does not get enough recognition. He showed at the end of last year his explosiveness after having the ball in his hands. So I just think, where someone is ranked, I mean, on your guys' list at what is that, 33?
Yeah, but I have him at 23, so I'm with you. I'm the highest one.
So, I think Chase Brown will have a very big season. I think, he's a receiving back. I think Moss takes some of it away on the goal line, but I think that's going to be a lot of Chase Brown's usage in that offense.
Woo, look at JoJo. Spears, 22.
Yeah, like this whole group of Jalen Warren, Chase Brown, Tajay Spears, I'm very high on. I think they're borderline RB2 backs by the end of the year. That's just kind of where I'm sitting at. I know this is a very aggressive ranking on Jalen Warren with the hammy injury. I don't think it's going to hurt. I think it's kind of like the Jahmyr Gibbs. I think they're just going to sit him and rest him, be ready for it early in the season. I'm not worried about it. I think he was the most explosive back. I think he had like one of the highest, if not the highest, explosive rating, like runs over 15 or 20 plus yards last season. By far and away, he was the most explosive back in that backfield. And I think he can replicate that in the Artie Smith offense. So
there's an RB1 sitting on this page right here that we haven't even talked about yet.
I know. I knew you
were
on.
You talking about this guy? Talking about this guy? Look, I like him a lot this year. The last thing before we go to receivers was deep sleepers, and he's like my number one deep sleeper.
No, you're missing the boat, brother. I'm up above that. I'm looking at Jonathan Brooks, my friend.
Oh, okay.
I knew you were gonna say that, Sean.
Yeah, Jonathan Brooks, man, that guy has got the potential to finish the year in the top 12 as an RB1, man. I am telling you, keep an eye out. Get him if you can. Where he's falling in drafts right now, it's to me, it's criminal. Like I'm snagging him everywhere I can.
Well, let me ask you this: are you at all worried about this is a very it's not a popular opinion, but it's been floated around in just a lot of different threads, fantasy things that I'm into. But what are the odds that since Carolina is supposed to be pretty bad still, that let's say he comes in, they're like 0-8, 1-7, middle of the year already, he's still not back, he's working his way back. Do they really want to ramp him up and give him full workload?
No.
Or are they going to sit him in because this is their investment?
Back that late.
No, I agree 100% with JoJo. If they're freaking out of the playoffs and they don't even have a shot at nothing, why are you going to run a guy out there coming off an ACL?
Give him 20 plus touches. I don't know if it's
get him hurt again.
Smart.
No, it's not going to. So I don't think it's going to be that long in the season before he comes in. I think he'll be in there before, week 4 or 5, somewhere in that time frame, starting to get some carries, starting to kind of get going a little bit ramped up. If worst case, maybe by week 6, but they're not going to be out of a playoff race by week 6, especially not in that division. So,
hey, JoJo, can you scroll down on that list for a sec?
Yeah, which one?
Where is so right there at 42?
Chuba?
I think you're gonna disagree with me, Sean, but I think where he's ranked.
I can get them both on the screen here. We got Jonathan Brooks and we got Chuba.
I think that if you are able to get Hubbard in a redraft, I think that gives you good value for where you get him.
I don't hate that. I just don't think Chuba really has that kind of ability to be like a solid starter for you. I think he's just going to be like a low level flex play at best.
For those, maybe for the zero RB builds, you could get a late starter with that. If you're going to go that route, I would just say like that's definitely something I've done. I picked him up actually in the 12th or 13th round in a Yahoo league I just drafted on Monday. I have Jahmyr Gibbs my midi guy, but like, hey, in the flex spot, if I need to, week 1 or week 2, something I did too.
That brings up a question I have for you guys. What's your opinion on handcuffs?
I will do it.
Go ahead, Jojo.
No, just cut out. I'm sorry. Okay, no, it didn't cut out on the screen here. I would say I'm definitely taking a handcuff for the ones that offer this kind of upside, the contingent upside. Like I want all of the Charbonnet, the Blake Corum, the Jalen Warren even. I want that kind of upside on my as far as handcuffs. But I'm more like kind of likely to kind of steal some other people's handcuffs in that case too. I'm not really handcuffing my own guy. I kind of like to take away from my competition rather than just give myself a bench spot that may never even be used.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
So that's the way I run it. So if I'm investing like in a Breece Hall, I want his handcuff because he's most likely my first round pick. So I need to ensure that blackjack opportunity, like the blackjack table. But I'm with JoJo. If I'm a zero RB guy, I'm looking for the Charbonnets. I'm looking for the Corums. I'm looking for other people's handcuffs. And, because one injury away, I can either use them or trade them for something else.
Where's Seabaum? Where's Seabaum in this? Because Seabaum hates running backs, and he's the guy that's just like me. That's like, hey, let's go dumpster diving and get all these handcuffs and stuff.
Well, let's look at this. I want to bring this guy up. I want to bring this up. Like, the last one before we go to like this guy right here, Mitchell. Do you really think that he's going to get the full boatload of carries if CMC goes down? I don't even know if we had him ranked here, but Jordan Mason's getting a lot of pub. Do you think there's going to be a split backfield? Like those kind of handcuffs to me, like are wastes in my opinion. There's really no true upside to all the work.
He's also himself very injury prone, hasn't been able to survive.
Of course, yes, but I'm just saying, like, if you have CMC, are you really going to really waste a spot for Elijah Mitchell?
Not like, but for Kyron Williams, I'm definitely drafting Blake Corum.
Of course, yes, those will have huge upside. They're going to get all consolidate the work, is what I mean.
Mitchell's going so late though, it really doesn't matter. I mean, it's a flyer. Who cares? I mean,
Corum, you actually have to invest a pick.
You got to invest a pick for him. Mitchell's like 650.
All right, let's move on.
Sorry,
receivers. Get to those receivers.
No, I meant because Ralphie, we're losing one. Ralphie says he's got to go to bed, so I want to make sure we get through the rest of this year. So. Receivers 10 through 1. We do have the rookie Marvin Harrison Jr. at 10, Drake, Puka, AJ Brown, Garrett Wilson, J. Jeff, Jamar, Amon-Ra, Tyreek, CD. Also not unanimous, by the way. I think Tyreek is getting a little more steam as of late because of the contract negotiations, wouldn't you guys say? Yeah. Jamar Chase also, I think, slipping into the now top 5. I bet you T-Bomb has something to say about this because he's out of a 3, and he was very adamant about Jamar over Amon-Ra. But anything to say about the top 10 guys before we get to some other like polarizing topics?
I've always had Tyreek over CD personally. So
everybody sees where I got Puka.
I know we're going to talk about that. That's the first topic on the receiver, Scott. I want to give you the floor, but any comments on the top 10?
No, because I was about to say Puka, but then kind of Scott said it. I really don't have anything. I don't have anything here.
I just want to hear from Scott.
AJ Brown needs to be above Garrett Wilson.
I'll say that one more time. I heard Garrett Wilson. What was that?
I think AJ Brown should be above Garrett Wilson.
Okay, I'm thinking Garrett's going to shock the world this year. So
yeah, I'm looking at my rankings and I didn't rank it that way, and I'm mad at myself. I feel like I should have swapped them.
Okay, so this would be like a 6, and this is a 7.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
All right, Scott, you have the floor, man. Explain your Puka hate.
Oh, he is at 10.
Well, I mean, it's not hate. It's not so much hate. It's that he's definitely a great player. It's just everyone's drafting him at his ceiling. The end of the first round, beginning of second round. I mean, I think Cooper Kupp is definitely gonna
about 13.
eat into his target share this year. I think it's going to be pretty much an even Steven split. Matthew Stafford still, I think, prefers Cup over Puka. So that's basically why I dropped him where I dropped him, because I don't have any shares of him because I'm not drafting him at his ceiling. I'd rather just wait an extra round and take Cooper Kupp, especially in a redraft. I mean, we're not talking dynasty. He's fully healthy, no hamstring injuries in the preseason like last year. So I agree with like what Sun Devil said on the chat. They'll be much closer together in ADP. I'll just take the discount.
So I'm going to have to rebuttal Scott a little bit here. I would not take Cooper Kupp at where you had him ranked. I think that is too high at 13. I think that there are better wide receivers out there that I would take that I think that have better opportunities than Kupp.
Like who?
Well, so if I'm looking at your list, I would take Nico over Kupp.
It's debatable.
Scott, do you think that he could have found the fountain of youth of 2021 season just because it's?
Oh, I don't think he's gonna have that kind of a season. But I'm looking at the target share in that offense. If you're talking about Nico, I love Nico. You know I love Nico, but we just talked about it. Nico Collins, Stephon Diggs, Tank Dell, possibly John Mechie. You know, I mean, all those balls to go around were in LA. It's going to be all target funneled to Kupp and Nakua. You know, so I'm going to go with the guy that is going to have the least amount of competition he's got to deal with.
Fair.
I guess that's fair, but I guess I don't know. I used to be the biggest Kupp fan, but I just don't see him being able to stay healthy for a full season anymore.
I mean, D-Pain is really down on Nico. 17 was pretty low. 21 for Nico here. I disagree with that one. That's a very low ranking on a guy who's I think a physical specimen at that as a true X. You know what? Speaking of while we're on the Houston receivers, I want to just call this out. This is something I thought was very unique. Nico's at 14 consensus. I'm going to scroll down. Tank is the next Houston receiver at 25. Diggs is at 28. That means there's 3 Houston receivers in the top 30, right? The other polarizing wide receiver core is Green Bay. The highest Green Bay receiver is at 35. The next highest has got to be, if I'm not mistaken, it's Christian at 48.
Well, it better be Christian. So it should be
Stubbs is 52, and Wicks is 57. I just think it's unique that we're all so much higher on the Houston subset. And, you know, Jordan Love is a great quarterback too. And we're so much lower, like a full wide receiver grade down, like as we group them in 12s, to Jaden Reed and company versus the other 3. So what say you guys about that kind of like call out there?
Yeah, I think we're all gonna like look at this like halfway through the season. We're gonna be like, we're a bunch of fools because we rank the Green Bay receivers just way too low.
Okay.
I'm with you on that, man. I mean, I've got Christian Watson above Jaden Reed. So me and we talked about this a lot.
You did, yes, you did. 33 to 38.
Yeah, me and Scott both have Christian Watson as the number 1 there. So, but I do think that they're all undervalued right now, and I don't mind it because I'm snagging them when I can get a hold of them in these drafts. You know, I'll even take Jaden Reed if he's there at the right time. So I'm totally fine with all that.
Jojo, where's Dobbs on this list, if at all?
No, Dobbs is on here. It's right below. He's the 3rd. He's right here, 52. Our rankings are here.
I think
he's going to have the most snaps. He's going to be on. I don't think he's going to come off the field. Watson and Wicks, I think they're going to alternate. I think at least early in the season, my take is that with Watson still going to be kind of sheltered, if you will, because of his injury history, and Wicks is going to come on the field and spell him or get a few snaps here and there. Dobbs doesn't come off the field, and Jaden Reed is not staying on in 2 wide receiver sets. He's coming off the field in those. So it's a lot of just moving parts, balls being shared around and everything.
I think Dobbs in terms of where your guys' rankings are. I think Dobbs has the highest out of all Green Bay Packer wide receivers to move up your rankings a lot higher by year end than any of the other Green Bay wide receivers.
All right, let's keep it moving here, guys. I'm sorry. I know we just got to make sure we get out of here. Last one here for tight end is we got our top 10. Brock Bowers, the rookie, made it. Jake Ferguson, George Kittle, Evan Ingram, Kyle Pitts, Mark Andrews, Trey McBride, Dalton, Travis, and Sam Laporta. Again, not a unanimous at the top. We have some dark horses like Sean and I both have Dalton as our tight end 1 here. Let me ask you this. Outside of these, the kind of the known 7 or 8 here, because you could probably even throw George Kittle in there, but this is kind of the consensus group across the industry, right? Outside of that, I would go down to like here. Which one of these guys has a chance to make a case for a top tight end season that we're not really accounting for?
Ferguson.
Anybody else?
Ferguson to me is like a pretty touchdown dependent kind of a guy. I think if it's tough for me, maybe Freiermuth just because of his shares that he's going to get in the offense, I think could be higher. And then as much as I hate to say it, are you saying Brock Bowers potentially could jump in there? I could see him maybe covering into the bottom, like taking over Evan Ingram's spot.
I'm saying Brock Bowers because I think they're going to use him in all kinds of different scenarios. Like I think he's going to line up in the backfield. He's going to line up split wide. He's going to line up, he's going to be gone in motion quite a bit. I could see him doing smoke screens with him. I mean, whatever he did at Georgia, I think they're just going to have him do the same thing in the pros. And having Michael Myers and Harrison Bryant, they're going to be the interior tight ends when they come out in the different personnel. So Bowers will never have his hand in the dirt. He's going to be floating around as a receiver. So I think he has the most upside. I do like Ferguson a lot, though, too, because if they can't come up with a third wide receiver in that offense, I don't think I think Brandon Cooks, should start showing some decline. So I think Ferguson could end up being the number 2 target in that offense.
I have to completely disagree with Sean when he says that Ferguson's a touchdown dependent option. If you look at his stats last year and that they didn't bring anyone in, I don't know how you can call him a touchdown dependent tight end.
Boom.
We don't talk about stats on this podcast.
I have to be careful because JoJo's the stat guy.
JoJo, I want to say one thing. You did a tremendous job with this.
Yes, you did a great job, JoJo.
You did a great job with this. So
yeah, it's pretty awesome.
Appreciate it. Scott, though, I do have to call out these egregious rankings of Stackerts because none of us had them ranked. But you had Gerald Everett above even Cole Kmet, which is also shocking. Actually, no, wait, did you? Wait, what's that? Let me double check here. Yeah. You did have Gerald Everett 1 spot ahead of Cole Kmet. Cole Kmet still won up in consensus. I put asterisks here just because it was literally 1 ranking that put him here. So bear with us, audience, on that. But Scott, do you have just a quick nugget of why you have him so high?
Everett over
just to have him this high in general, like Zach Ertz, Gerald Everett, but yes, like even Everett in the same.
You have him over TJ Hawkinson.
That too.
Well, and
Hawkinson's not going to play much, so we know that.
This is going to surprise you a little bit, JoJo, and you should be happy with this take. I think the Bears' offense is going to be a very, very high-powered offense, and I guess I'm just rolling the dice with. I remember when Everett was with the Chargers and in offenses that threw the ball a lot, he was the beneficiary. So I think he could do just as well as Cole Kmet, if not do better than he would. So I think after what I saw the last couple of weeks and with the weaponry that Williams has, I think we might be sleeping on the Bears offense a little bit.
You definitely could, and that kind of explains my Caleb ranking too.
You deserve a flag for your rankings down here. This is atrocious.
Which one?
For you to even say that Zach Ertz is ranked 16 and that you think that Zach Ertz will finish better than TJ Hawkinson this year is awful. And for you to also, I got to take this a step further. You gave no credit to Otton, who I think is a good tight end for Tampa Bay, and the fact that the Ravens are going to run a 2 tight end set, and you have Ertz above likely 2. No way. No way. I will put so many pup subs on the fact that all those guys that you listed below Ertz will finish better.
What? We're talking about rankings that are like near the 20s.
Yeah, but Zach Ertz shouldn't even be on this list.
First of all, Zach Ertz is going to be the starter there. Whether he makes it throughout the season or not is another thing.
Well, to be fair, too, I do feel like there's regression.
Oatmeal Pants is over here talking up an old man like Zach Ertz.
Hey, there's nothing wrong than doing. There's a difference between running with oatmeal pants and catching with oatmeal pants. Jason Witten was the classic 5-yard button hook. He made it a career out of the 5-yard button hook. So Ertz is entering the 5-yard button hook.
No. How many conversations? I'm going to even add another person to this list. How can you say Conklin is below Ertz?
I do like Conklin, but I still think Ertz will have a better year.
I will say that I do because again I follow Ohio State. I think Jeremy Ruckert is gonna push Conklin for snaps more and more. As one of my gut calls is like super dark horse who could become a starter and become fantasy relevant is Jeremy Ruckert in New York Jets. You heard it here first. Hopefully it comes true.
I cannot wait for when we have a recap at year end and we just screenshot that one line where everyone here has NR, and then all of a sudden Scott pops up. Oh, he's 16. He's gonna have a great season. Everyone plays one game and then done for the season.
We have like a highlight reel of one catch for 5 yards.
Oh, this evens Connor said he had a great day of scrimmages. Oh, right. got a little bit of some.
Scott, could you seriously put a pub sub on the fact that Ertz would finish better than Hawkinson?
I can't think of anything else here, guys.
I don't even know if Hawkinson's going to be around until week 5 or 6.
Oh,
last question: does Pitts get it done this year? Does he finally live up to the hype? Oh, you guys got a pub sub going? Does he finally get it? Does he finally get it going this year? Yes or no? Just a quick answer.
Who?
Yes.
Yeah.
Pitts. Yes. Thumbs up.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, we're all in agreement there. I like Pitts too. All right, that will take. I'll stop sharing here, and we'll just tune us out, Scott.
All right. We ran a little long on time, but it was definitely knowledgeable. Jojo, you did a great job on those redrafts rankings. Hopefully, when the season point scoring season starts, we can have you back on, and you can have do the ones for like the week. That would be pretty interesting.
Sure.
For matchups for the week, that would be pretty good. So we kind of ran out of time for trades. Should we just do one trade real quick? Just how about that one? That one.
You guys knock it out. I do have to run. My daughter is crying right now.
You know what? We'll do that on a bonus pod. But thank you, listeners, for stepping in. Like I said, like and subscribe to the podcast. It really helps. And then we have one more week next Wednesday. We'll be doing the pod at 10 p.m. again, and then we will be getting later, Jojo. We will be getting going 2 days starting on September 3rd. So that will start, like I said, September 3rd, and then that'll be on Tuesdays and Fridays. So until next week, for Jojo, for the dealer Ken, for my co-host Sean, I am Lutz for Sale.